Cruelty and neglect towards animals is a growing phenomenon in the kingdom. It has been present in Bahrain for too long, and it's only getting worse. Fortunately, there are a number of dedicated individuals and organisations in Bahrain that rescue animals and raise awareness of animal cruelty. One such individual is Tony Waters, better known as the Dogfather. Tony has been rescuing and rehabilitating animals for the past 15 years and now runs the Dogfather's Animal Rescue and Rehabilitation Centre in Sar.
I've lived in Bahrain for almost 30 years. I'm getting used to it now.
When did you start rescuing animals?
I started rescuing animals. It was actually my daughter who started it. She'd pick any animal up off the road, and she was a vet's nightmare. And she got me rescuing animals, and I ended up in an apartment in Al-Doy with 8 dogs and 7 cats. This is when I decided to move from Al-Doy to better premises. And then my daughter left for the States. She's now in Vegas. Left me to it. It's her fault.
What was the moment or the point where you realised that this is what you want to do?
It was a choice between my business and the animals. And so I give up my business after 20 years and just totally went into the animals, and I've sort of never looked back since.
What business were you in?
I had the salons in the Crown Plaza for 20 years.
How did your Dogfather title come about?
That gentleman there, he's just collected his dogs. He has been for years. And he brought me a T-shirt saying Dogfather. He said, well, you are the Dogfather. And then the press picked it up. I think it was the Gulf Weekly picked it up, and it's been used ever since.
What's your most memorable rescue case?
My first dog, Fatso. He was in a garden in a cage, and food was being thrown in, and I asked the people to bring him out, bring her out, and she was so fat. She waddled, and she waddled up to me, sat down, smiled at me and gave me 5. And I begged them to let me take her. And she was my best friend until last year when, 15 years later, and she died.
What kind of support do you need, and is most important at this point?
Well, food, always food. And of course, donations towards the upkeep of the place, rent, electric bills, and of course I have to sort of pay part-time staff as well. With over 300 animals, it's a bit much for me on my own, so I have to depend on the volunteers and some part-time staff.
How can people help?
Well, basically I have an open day on a Friday for people coming, walking dogs, the students come and do certain projects, different projects. People come and walk dogs. If people want to adopt, then I'll show them around dogs and cats and the ones that are for adoption. And basically, mainly Friday. A few volunteers come a couple of mornings, like a Wednesday morning and a Sunday morning, between 10 and 12. They just sort of play with the dogs in the garden. Because the dogs like people and they like to get out and in groups and jump around.
Around how many animals have you rescued to date?
Oh, I've lost count on the amount of animals I've rescued. Thousands, absolutely thousands. A lot of the animals have grown old with me, and I've lost quite a few. A lot have been adopted out. I'm quite fussy where they go. I vet the people. I don't just give them to anybody because they've been rehabilitated. It's got to be the right animal for the right family, and they've got to be inside dogs and cats. They've got to be desexed if they haven't been. I normally get all the boys done. They've got to be brought back to me if it doesn't work out, and the people that adopt are welcome to make a donation to the rest of the centre.
If you had the funds, what would be the next thing on your list for the centre?
I'm turning away 20 to 50 a week, unless they're injured or, you know, really abused. And there's no space at all. I can't cope with any more, but I wish I could do more. So if I had, if I won the lottery, if I ever did the lottery, I would, I'd find a bigger place. I wouldn't find a bigger place, I'd keep this place, but I would help more animals. That's where the money would go. There's a lot of dogfighting in Bahrain. Some action needs to be taken. I mean, if people will report it to the authorities, maybe something could be done about it. But at the moment, nobody's doing anything.
Animal cruelty is a serious issue in Bahrain, and it must stop. Let's show support to the organisations in the fight against animal cruelty and injustice.